From Melbourne to Perth, they marched in their thousands, calling for tougher laws on violence against women. The demonstrations come after a rise in the number of women killed so far this year.
I'm really sick of it. I'm sick of this, and I don't want my future to continue being like this.
According to the government, one woman has been killed every 4 days in Australia this year. That's 27 women. The figure nearly doubles when compared to the same period last year. A recent stabbing attack in Sydney that killed 6 people, most of them women, has brought the issue of violence against them back to the fore.
It needs to start with the sons, the boys, because this behaviour is being perpetuated by centuries long of misogyny.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese attended one of the rallies in capital Canberra.
It's not just government's problem, it's a problem of our entire society. And this is a national crisis.
Women's rights advocates say such attacks have become disturbingly common in the country. In 2021, tens of thousands rallied against allegations of sexual abuse and misconduct in some of Australia's highest political offices. In a nation where women are feeling increasingly unsafe, these protesters are calling for change. Um-e-Kulsoom, Shariff, Al Jazeera.
Vicky Ward is the Victorian State Minister for Prevention of Family Violence. She marched today in Melbourne and joins us live now from there. Minister Ward, good to have you with us live on Al Jazeera. The report itself makes for start reading. I have got a copy of it in front of me and I have had a really good look at it today. And it seems that very little has changed over the years in Australia when it comes to gender-based violence, except its increase.
Well, the national conversation has begun, which is terrific. But at Victoria, we've been having this conversation since the murder by his father of Luke Batty in 2015 here in Victoria. We had our Royal Commission in 2016 and we've implemented all 227 recommendations that have come out of that Royal Commission. We've invested over $3.86 billion in addressing family violence, particularly around response, how we can triage, how we can wrap services around those people who have experienced family violence, predominantly women and children, predominantly at the hands of men. And the Prime Minister is right. We do need to expand our focus to be more inclusive of what we can do in prevention, but also what we can do in terms of working with those people who are using violence.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but then it does beg the question that while you're investing so much money at federal level, at state level, there are still so many people on the streets today saying not enough is being done. And one wonders how your findings at state level work in the much broader approach that has to be executed by the federal government.
So this is what's interesting. So family violence here in this state it's only in recent years that we're really seeing that huge influx of money and that real institutional support. So that means that we're now actually able to start measuring data. And what we've seen is that violence incidents are plateauing. Those reported to Victoria Police, and we do accept that many incidents do not get reported. But we're looking at 92, 93, 94,000 reports a year to Victoria Police. So what we're seeing is an environment where people are more confident in coming forward and where they know that they will have that support. And through knowing these numbers, that is what actually helps us continue to work through programs, to work through what we can do to continue to drive down those incidents of family violence.
OK, just for our viewers at home, just a few quick statistics. We talk about the numbers. An estimated 8 million Australians, 41%, have experienced violence, that's physical or sexual, since the age of 15. In another point, 31% of women and 42% of men have experienced physical violence. 22% of women and 6.1% of men have experienced sexual violence. It's not just women, is it, that are being targeted here in your processes to try and protect everyone. There are also men that need protecting.
There are, absolutely. And one of the key things here to recognise is that most of the people who are committing this violence, who are choosing to use violence, are men. And it is against women, it is against men, and it is against children. And we do see recurring trauma. We do see many of those people who are using violence have experienced trauma in their lives before. So there is something that we have to do, and this again goes to what the Prime Minister has said, and it absolutely goes to what Premier Jacinta Allen has said. We've got to do work in prevention, and we've got to be working with those people who are actually using violence.
It's all very easy.
But we do need men in this conversation.
Yeah, it's all very easy.
It's not easy at all.
No,
if
you just get in there, it's all very easy, I was going to say, for news anchors like myself to look at a report and then question you and put you on the spot. One of the factors I think that's very important that you made, or has been made very clear in the report, is that the period of COVID-19, the lockdown, people within their own homes, has played a huge factor in the way that the numbers have risen. They may not have risen exponentially as widely as they have, or as high as they have, had COVID not happened. How do we have to sort of take that period of history into, you might say, into the mind, how do we factor it, into the bigger equation of how you solve the problem now?
Well, I think that we have to be clear that violence against women has been going on for millennia. Yes, COVID did create fraught situations in households where we saw increased incidents of reported family violence. It doesn't mean that the violence wasn't happening before. It may not have been as severe, but it may well have been happening. So violence, gendered violence, it is about respect. And we need to have change in our country, but worldwide, around how we see women, how we talk about women, and how we are inclusive of women. Okay. Because what we're seeing is an issue of respect.
Well, we shall see how those demonstrations pan out. For the moment, Minister Ward, thanks so much for joining us from Melbourne. Thanks for your time.
No, thank you for the time. Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.